Hi, my name is Vahan Davoudian. I'm a physics experimentalist for 30 years, and today we're talking about plastic, and this is the topic. How versatile and indispensable are plastics in our life? And by Vahan Davoudian, physics experimentalist, and this is my email, vahandavoudian@aol.com. This is extremely important in our life because I can explain later, how everything is made from plastic, how it changed our life, and then how easy it is to work with plastic. In fact, at the beginning of the 20th century, everything was natural. I mean, they used natural things for the construction, for homes, and some other things. And then gradually, by the middle of the 20th century, they started, doing plastics, and then they discovered so many things like Kevlar, like, plastics, nylon, polymers, and everything else, which changed our life. Anyway, that is why we call this age of plastic. And plastics are, synthetic and semi-synthetic. But I have to explain what we mean by the polymer. Poly is the word from Latin, means many, and mer means, sugar or, glucose, and then I will show you how the, glucose is. So it's a chain. It's organic. So it's a chain. It has so many molecules, together makes it like sugar. Anyway, this is so important. The reason why plastics can be molded, can be extruded, can be pressed to any shape, because it's amazing. I mean, we can do anything with the plastic. And the adaptability plus the wide range of other properties like, lightweight, durable, flexible, and inexpensive, which change our life. Plastic can replace almost everything. I will explain why. And you know what? This is made from the petroleum. I mean, it's from the fossil fuel chemicals, and that is another problem. But always, we can have it from the vegetable also, which is not a lot. And it is from the corn. It's from the corn and the cotton, which is only 1%, and maximum we can go to 4%. But overall, everything is from the petroleum, and that is a problem because of the fluctuation in the oil prices, and they have OPEC and some other things. And always, I have seen in all my life, the petroleum is not the same. It's always fluctuating. It's like a stock market. I mean, it is not dependable. But overall, the plastic changed our life. And like I said, vegetable oil, and then the other can do 6%, but like I said, it's from cotton and corn. So let me put more posters, and then I can explain how important plastics are in our life. People use the natural polymers, and natural, they are like in plants and woods. But as the chemists try to, especially like in United States, DuPont was so important in this thing, and then they tried so many things, and finally they came up with synthetic, which everything is man-made. So the first synthetic polymer was in 1830, which was found that treating starch or wood with nitric acid can change everything. But this was the first one, which was in 1856, and then English inventor, his name was Alexander Parks, and then he treated with the nitrous, the cellulose, then he came up with the first synthetic polymers. And because his name was Alexander Parks, so he named this Parksine, which was the early form of cellulose. And it was amazing. It changed our world. And then I talk about the rubbers a little bit, and then it was good, and it was waterproof, and then it was exactly the way he expected. He expected Mr. Parkside. Parkside, I mean, yeah. Before I talk about rubber, I have to show you a poster which is so important. And this is in Thailand. Let me post this up. You can see. This was extremely important in our life, and you can see this is the part of it, and this is called a rubber tree, and you can see the bark is a little bit scratchier, or they cut the bark, then you can see that is latex is oozing, but I'm not sure how I mean the flow is, but then they have buckets here, then they just dump this, and Thailand happened to be the third world's manufacturer of the rubbers in the world, because they have these special trees. It takes 7 years, and then you can see there's another one here, and then what they do, they just cut the bark a little bit, but you can see it's a little bit oblique, so the gravity can help, and then see they just drop it in these buckets. And Thailand produced that 40 trillion, I mean this rubber latex, which is the 1/3 of the world, production. Okay, this poster is about the rubbers. We changed our, industry, automobiles and everything else. And this was amazing. And this was a genius. His name was Charles Goodyear. And then, when you buy a tire, Bridgestone or Goodyear, that was amazing. Charles, he was a good inventor. Then he realized that, what these rubber trees, when you have the latex, he can heat it up with the sulfur, and then they're not sticky anymore, and they are not breaking anymore, but they can be tougher. Then from then on, what happened, the tire was invented. And imagine billions of tires we buy every year, from the bicycles, for motorcycle, for the ATVs, for the cars, for the huge industries, bulldozers, and then loaders, you name it. I mean, even in small portions, like toys, we buy these things. So this is called vulcanized. Whenever Mr. Charles did this process is called vulcanized. So they treat that, latex, they get it from Thailand. And we have also some trees in China and Indonesia, but Thailand is the most important producers in the world. So they vulcanize it, and then that is so good, it's less elastic, and that's why our tires sometimes last 5-6 years. So, and then after that, we talk about synthetic clothing fibers, and then this was also important. And we had a good scientist in the United States, DuPont lab. His name was Wallace Crowther. Crowther's, yeah, I think it was Wallace, yes. Wallace Carothers. I'm sorry. Wallace Carothers. He was amazing chemist, but unfortunately he committed suicide when he was 41 years old. He had depression, but he started these things, and he was amazing scientist. And then he used to work in DuPont, and then in 1930 they invented the artificial rubber, which was neoprene. And then Mr. Carothers was so good before he died, they also invented the nylon, which was breakthrough in science. What the nylon did in our life, I can explain later. And then nylon, replaced silk, and silk was so expensive. It was coming from China, and then you have to have warm silk, and the process is overall so expensive, but it is not as good as nylon. So nylon, not 100%, but it replaced the silk. Because of Mr. Charles Goodyear, we owe it to him, and he did a fantastic job. And since then, we always use this invention, great invention from Mr. Charles Goodyear. These are some products I can show you. And this is the most important, formula, I would say, in organic. You can see this is one molecule, and this is another molecule. And in fact, they call it sugar, but the actual name is glucose. So what you can see here, hydrogen, see, the little one, and then you can see carbon atom, the blue one or the black one, and then oxygen. Well, this is so important in our life because, when we have a photosynthesis, the most important food for the plants are this formula, or in other words, glucose. But the glucose, they are chained together. So like I said, poly means many and mer means sugar. Not sugar, I mean glucose. So polymer, we have so many molecules in a chain. Well, of course, it doesn't show here. I only show two. Then if you pay close attention, you can see these molecules are forming hexagon. So this is the way they are. And these are some, products which I, show you some of them. And this is the formica. And then I remember when I was a kid, and then the formica was so many, colors. You see how good it is. They changed, furnitures and everything else. And this is from 1955 advertisement. It shows, and this is the Kevlar, and this is Mr. Wallace Carruthers. That's his name. And you can see here we have, roller skaters, and then roller blades and everything else. This is so hard at the same time. It is so good, and it's called thermosetting. And this is another one, thermoplastic. And this is a special tubes that you can blow air in. You can make it smaller or larger. And then I can explain later about the Kevlar. These are the inventions, I try to put them in order. But before, I have to explain something. When Mr. Carothers did this nylon and everything else, and this is shocking, staggering number. In a word, we use 4 trillion plastic bags. And imagine it can be used in space for the astronaut, to have food inside. And then for the kids, we can have food inside. We can have a spare part. We can have toys and everything else. 4 trillion. And this always causing a problem for the, they litter everything. Sometimes they don't observe, the recycling things. And that is amazing. Why, the humans don't realize that, they should always recycle things. But if you, go back in history, you can see how the plastic changed our life. And most of it goes to the packaging. And imagine every time you use a wrap, shrink wrap, or you use a bubble wrap, or you use anything, it is from the plastics. And in fact, Teflon is so important in our life. About 20 years ago, I used to work in an international corporation called John Crane International. I remember it was English-based company, and then our headquarters was in Chicago, but we had branches all over United States anyway. We used to order millions of Teflons. It was kind of O-ring, it was kind of bells, it was kind of washers, tubes, and everything else. And I remember I worked in that company almost like 12 years. When we took those mechanical seals apart, after many years, the Teflon was still there because they're waterproof, they're insect proof, they won't rust, they won't act with anything. But you know, carbon is so amazing. It can, bond with everything. But the Teflon was so good, and you know, this was the best sealing for us because we could not use washers, you know, like a rubber or anything. They would rust, or you know, they would, not last at all. So anyway, and then I remember BASF is the German-based company, and then I used to work with some of them. You know, they were chemists, and then I love always to exchange views. I'm sorry. With the scientists and the chemists. And you know, chemistry is so important because you have to know the chemistry, and then you can learn physics. Then I had a good friend in this BASF, which is the biggest corporation in the world, and they do resins, they do glues, you know, basic petrochemicals, you know, in construction they help, textile, and you know, they have so many products. As a matter of fact, the paint they do in a BASF, which is in Germany, it is the best in the world. Nobody can compete with the Germany when it comes to this, you know, BASF company. And then I remember when I found this chemist, he was our neighbor. Then, you know, we made a deal with him. This was like maybe 26, 28 years ago. I'm sorry, it was 35 years ago. Then I told him, how about I make a deal with you? You teach me German, I teach you English. He was not good in English, but you know, he learned a lot. It took us many years, so he was teaching me German, and then I was teaching him English. Then that was a good deal. We did not get paid, but that was amazing because he was a good chemist. I remember one time we were having beer, I asked him, hey, how about that if we take away the plastics? And with no hesitation, he said, no way. There is no way you can take away plastic from our life because our life depended on plastic. And imagine an automobile, and like would say 50% of the automobile by volume is plastic, and this 10% by its weight. But overall, you can see the toys and everything else is with the plastic. I show you some of this because I was using. See, this is nylon, and this is plastic, and guess what? This is so good. And see this? Gears. They work so good everywhere. See, this is another one for the, you know, for the kids roll brake. And I have seen some of them are 10 years, 15 years old. They won't, they last forever. How could you find a, metal, even, brass, or even, like steel or anything like, it's not going to last like this. See, we have like in sport, we have like a golf, and then PVC changed our world. And I remember when I was a kid, they used to, when like 7, 8 years old, they used to use, like a cast iron, and then that was vulnerable to, they would rust, and they would not last forever. And you know what? When you use Teflon like this, they won't even get, residue inside. It's just amazing how this works. So overall, these are so good in our life, and I have seen, the humans in tropical regions, places like Hawaii and other places, there's some trees, they have like fibers. Many, maybe thousands of years ago, they used to use it like a rope. And then the plastic came. Now nobody's using those. Then they used to use even the rubber tree things, but it was not vulcanized. They used to use it for the things. And these are the, what happened in plastic from 1860 to 1966. In 1862, his name was Alexander Parks. I mentioned a few minutes ago. This was the first synthetic plastic treating cellulose with anhydric acid in London. In 1872, German chemist Eugen Baumann, he invented the PVC, which I showed you a few minutes ago. PVC is amazing in irrigation, in the construction, and everything else. In 1887, American clergyman Hannibal Goodman, he invented the cellulose, and then after 2 years, Mr. Eastman, you know him, he was so famous, Kodak film, and Eastman Kodak did. In 1933, I'm sorry, in 1912, Swiss chemist Jacques Bandenberger, he did the semi-synthetic. He did the telephone, and in 1933, his name was Eric Fawcett, synthesized polyethylene, and in 1935, DuPont for nylon. Like I said, nylon was so important in our life. We use it for the books, we use it for the folders, we use it for the food and everything else. And in 1941, kinetic chemical for PTFE, which was Teflon. And imagine, I remember the old days we didn't have this non-sticking, things, but now we have non-sticking pots and pans and everything else. And in 1966, his name was Stephanie Nolek, and then for the DuPont, he invented Kevlar, and the Kevlar is amazing. I show you with my hand. It's like, woven thing. It's left and right or up and down, and they're stab-proof, but also they're bulletproof, and God knows they have saved thousands of lives, for the law enforcement officers and so on. So, like I said, I can have so many things for the plastic, but I just don't want to make it so long. So I hope you like this video. And like I said, plastic is so important in our life. And then I'm hoping that, you guys love this video, so you can give me thumbs up, or, you can subscribe it if you like. And you have any comments or any questions, you can email me. I'll be happy to answer. Thanks a lot for watching, and I appreciate it.